Introduction to inflation.
What is inflation?
Let us take a moment to define inflation. Inflation is a general increase in prices and fall in the purchasing value of money.
I'm a bit lost. Please try another definition.
Inflation is a word you've probably been hearing a lot about. The simplest definition I could find about inflation described it as a steady rise in the price of goods and services in an economy over time.
That is easy enough.
Have you ever complained about the rising price of petrol at the pump?
Yes, I complain a lot. Petrol is expensive.
That's an example of how inflation affects our daily lives in reality. Think back to what a movie cost in 2001. Then in 2006. Now in 2013. It seems like you can't buy a simple movie ticket for under 50 rand nowadays. And if you take a date to the cinema and add popcorn and a Coke, you are talking a 100 rand to 140 rand at least.
How does inflation affect us?
Inflation affects us all as the price of everything tends to rise over time. Price doesn't really change much at all month to month, but it certainly does from year to year. Look at this table. In 2007, a loaf of bread was 6 rand and 70 cents. 3 years later, the bread cost 8 rand and 9 cents. Each year, the price is rising.
Please explain the meaning of purchasing power.
A loaf of bread cost 6 rand and 70 cents in 2007. If we buy the same loaf of bread a year later in 2008, it will cost 7 rand and 32 cents. That's 62 cents more. We can say that the bread cost has increased, or we can say 6 rand and 70 cents no longer buys what it used to. We say the purchasing power of our money has declined or dropped. Inflation measures how much the bread increases in value from one year to the next.
Okay, so inflation pops up all over the place in our real life. What does it mean for our investments?
You have asked a very difficult question. For the most part, investors factor in a rate of inflation close to 1.5% to 2% each year, which is considered stable in a growing economy. In other words, your investment has to beat the rate of inflation each year, or else your investment purchasing power would be shrinking compared to the goods and services in the economy.
How is inflation calculated?
The calculation of inflation is a complicated process. In South Africa, this is done by Statistics South Africa or Stats SA. For this section, we won't bother ourselves with inflation calculations. We hope you enjoyed the introduction.